I trusted my brother with my life savings, but he blew it all secretly, so I decided to take action against him but was disowned by my family for doing so. I, 28F, have a younger brother, 24M, and I let him move in with me a couple of months back. He used to be a party animal back in high school and through college and wasted all his years there. So naturally, his grades were bad, and he didn't have any work experience either, so he couldn't land a decent job. He refuses to take up low-paying jobs because he feels that he is destined for bigger things. Those are his words, not mine. My parents requested I let him move in with me for a while so that he could watch me and learn to be independent. While he was living with my parents, all he would do was play video games in his room, and if my parents brought up the job situation with him, he'd get mad and rant about how everyone was constantly pressuring him. I loved my brother and used to dot on him, even up until a few weeks back, so I agreed to let him move in with me, and he was happy to do so. When he moved in with me, for the first couple of weeks, he did the same thing that he used to do at our parents' house. So, I decided to take matters into my own hands to nudge him in the right direction and sat him down to explain the importance of working. From an early age, I've been working since my days in college, and by the time I graduated, I had enough experience to get hired and make a decent income. He'd obviously passed that point of time long ago, but he could still turn things around for himself. He had to sense our parents wouldn't be around forever, and as for me, I'd have a family of my own someday and couldn't support him throughout his life. After that lecture, he started to take things a little more seriously and told me that he'd start looking for jobs online and try to make himself better. I don't know if he actually did start searching for jobs, but every time I'd enter his room to check up on him, he seemed busy. Then, a few months back, he approached me and asked me to lend him the card to my savings account because he and a couple of his friends were planning to start a business of their own, and he needed money to invest in it. They were planning to start a gaming and electronics store, and for that, he needed a lot of money to make his contribution towards it. He didn't want to bother our parents by asking them, so he came to me instead. He promised me that once they'd start making profits, he'd return the money to me as well, or even better, make me a partner in their business. The idea seemed good on paper, and he and his friends seemed to have proper plans for this too. I consulted with my parents, and even they agreed that this was a great idea and pushed me to go along with it. One of my close friends, who happened to be a lawyer, had the good sense to suggest that I get him to sign a legal document to seal the deal that he'd return all the money or make me a partner in his business at some point. She believed that even if it was family, I shouldn't leave things up to chance. So, I did exactly that, and I should have realized that there was something off when my brother hesitated to sign that legal document, saying that because we were family, he shouldn't have to worry about stuff like this. But I somehow managed to convince him and told him that it was just a formality and neither of us should worry about it much. So he did so, but only after I promised him that it was just a formality and nothing else. I then added him to my card that was linked to my savings account and told him that he was allowed to spend half of it, but not more, not without my consent. He agreed to that. I'd saved around $225,000 over the past 8 years so that I could buy my own house in the suburbs soon enough and move out of my rented apartment. It was my hard-earned money, and I'd had to make a lot of sacrifices to save that amount, so it meant a lot to me. I expected my brother to respect it as well and stick to the rules that I'd set for him. He could ask me if he needed more money, and I would arrange for it, but he couldn't use up more than $12,000